What's up, everyone? It's a day before my 12th wedding anniversary, and I'm not doing myself any favors, but today I just got the most epic deal on a road bike, and I feel like I just have to share it. So, sitting behind me is a bike I had never heard of before. It is called Independent Fabrication. That's the company that makes it. And I saw this at a bike shop in the Bay Area called Good Karma. They're actually a nonprofit that takes in donated bikes and resells them for really excellent prices. I went to this shop just actually grabbing a coffee next door, and I saw this and I was absolutely blown away. I sat there for probably 5 minutes just admiring how well built this thing was. And when I saw the price, which was $19.99, I felt like it was just a steal. I didn't know anything about it, but just looking at the quality of the craftsmanship, I felt like I was looking at a really good deal. So I wasn't sure if it was gonna fit. I didn't really know anything about it, but as the interaction with the store employees progressed, I, as you can see here, ended up taking it home. So the first thing that I found really interesting is actually it's a carbon fiber titanium frame. And I noticed it was titanium because I actually have a titanium BMX bike, and I thought that the metal looked pretty familiar in terms of the shade. So I asked, and they confirmed it is in fact titanium. Really, the construction of this thing is just next level. And so, I wanted to highlight the deal. I also want to highlight the bike for those of you that don't know this brand or have never seen it before. We're going to get some close-ups at the construction of this thing. And in general, you see the 12C behind me. I think it's a really fitting car to actually have along with this bike because, it's sort of next level performance, and it's not cutting edge. But for those of us who aren't racing, it's kind of good enough. That's how I feel about this bike. This bike is probably 10, 15 years old, but I'm not gonna do anything competitive with it. And I can tell you just from riding it around the block that it is just buttery smooth. It is a real treat to ride, and it's something that, most people aren't gonna get to experience unless they shell out, 10 grand plus for a bike like this. So I actually don't know how good of a deal this really is. That's kind of for the bike aficionados out there. Why don't you let me know in the comments if you see this thing. But I'm pretty thrilled with this purchase. So let's take a closer look. So as you can see with my titanium BMX bike, I've been predisposed to the idea of titanium construction. I was really fascinated when I saw this in the bike shop. There's an element here to finding and securing deals that requires a bit of a soft touch to go off without a hitch. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So when I saw this bike and I was looking at it in the shop, I was curious, and I overheard someone talking about how a lot of the bikes that come through their shop actually are kind of bespoke brands that a lot of people are not familiar with. He actually mentioned that a lot of their donors are very affluent, their board of directors. I believe that they actually had a banner up that said the Zuckerberg-Chan initiative supported this outfit. And so you can imagine if you have executives from the likes of Facebook and whatnot donating bikes, that you might come across some pretty interesting stuff. Now, I wasn't sure that the sizing was gonna work for me. I actually haven't ridden a road bike in a long time. It is a 53 centimeter frame. Off the top of my head, it felt like that was gonna be small. I actually spoke with a number of the employees there, and they all basically said to some degree that yes, it's too small. The first person I spoke with was kind of like, yeah, you'd probably fit a 58 better, but you really just have to try the bike out and see how it works for you. She was very accommodating. She took my ID and let me run this around the block. And it actually just felt super amazing in terms of how smooth it was to shift, to pedal, but it did feel a little bit compact. When I got back, our baby actually needed a diaper change, and I was kind of on the fence about the size, even though the deal just felt incredible to me. So I gave the bike back, and I did some research while my wife was in the restroom changing our baby's diaper, and I found some people who legitimately seem to believe that you can actually run a smaller frame with some tweaks to the seats and the handlebars. And so I found a kind of well-written post, and I went back in to talk to some of the store employees about it. And the first thing I got hit with when I asked about the bike again from someone else was, yeah, that bike is too small for you. And it was interesting because he might have been right, but it was very much like, yeah, no, you shouldn't be buying that. And I don't know where it came from. It could just be that he knew that it really was a great deal, but he wants it to go to someone that he felt it was gonna fit perfectly. I'm really not sure why the reason for pause, but you know, I was tempted to kind of see if I could win him over. So without being combative, I basically said, you know, you're probably right. I'm not the expert here. I found this. I'm curious what you think about it. And the post basically said, you know, you can move the seat back, you can move the bars forward. This person actually preferred to run a smaller frame. And the guy read the post and said, okay, well, yeah, I guess, you know, there is some possibility here in terms of adjustment. So let's see what we can do, and let's see how you feel about it. And he actually helped me adjust the seat further back and actually took some kind of live measurements. He walked with me down the hallway, adjusted the seat a little bit more, and kind of agreed that, yeah, you know, I might actually be in business here. It really just depends how I really feel riding it, you know, a little bit further. So I took it out one more time, and even just with some minor adjustments to the seat, I had a lot more room up in my chest area as a result. He moved the seat down and back just a little bit, and the next test ride was just sublime. I mean, the way that this thing can put the torque down is just incredible. Just the power goes through your legs straight to the rear wheel. It's so smooth. Shifting it is so smooth. It's one of those things, just like with cars, when you level everything up and experience it for the first time, it's just different. And this was like that. It was like a revelation of riding road bikes. And the bike really probably is too small for me, but guess what? I'm not about to build out the equivalent in exactly my perfect size, you know, for 5 or 6 or who knows how many times the price that I paid for this. I'm not a pro, I'm not a racer. I honestly hadn't ridden a road bike in years. Now that I have this, I'll probably put it around the neighborhood, you know, maybe take it out a bit more, but you know, I've got way too many hobbies and way too little time. And this really is a rolling work of art. So I don't feel bad, honestly, just having it sit around, kind of like my titanium BMX bike, but I will actually try to use it for what it's built for. Overall, I will say if you're in the Bay Area and looking for a great deal on a bike and want to support a fantastic organization, Good Karma Bikes is the place to go. I know that for my old bikes, now that I know about this place, I will plan to donate them there when I'm no longer using them anymore. The staff is fantastic. You know, and in terms of the deal, they actually had said that this bike had 2 price drops and had actually been sold and returned once. The original ask for this was $5,000, and they had been sitting on it for over a year. I don't know at what point it hit 2,000. I'm pretty sure I must have seen this before because I've been in there, you know, more frequently than a year ago, but I'm guessing the price point at that time was just too high for me to even give it a second glance. When it comes to deals like this, if I think they really are just, you know, next level, not to be seen again, I often just pull the trigger and then sort out whether or not it made any actual sense after the fact. That's what I've done here. I've ridden it around the neighborhood a couple times, and yes, it probably is a smaller frame than I would have purchased if I were to purchase it new, but I actually really do enjoy riding it, and it doesn't feel too compact to me, so I think I am going to be all right with this purchase. What do you guys think? Again, I don't know anything about bikes. I've been told after the fact that this is maybe a mid-2000s bike. Clearly, I think it was, cream of the crop at that time. That's good enough for me. But from a deal perspective, if you're a road biker, if you're familiar with this, what are your thoughts? Good deal, bad deal, whatever deal? Love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. And that's all I've got. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you at the next one soon.